Welcome. My name is Michaela, and today I want to talk about some home decor tips I have to help get through the winter blues. If you live somewhere that gets cold, you know it is a little bit miserable outside. This winter has been particularly cold. I feel like in the winter, we all just end up spending a lot less time outside and a lot more time inside. So, here are some tips to kind of make your home as intentional and warm and lovely and cozy as possible so that you really enjoy spending time at home and it doesn't feel as much of like a chore. This helps me a lot to not feel sad about not being outside, but instead be like excited to spend a little bit of time inside because my home feels so kind of amazing and warm. All right, let's get into it. Number one is going to be lighting. We get so little vitamin D and so little sunlight during the winter, and it's like really hard to even have the urge to go outside because it's so damn cold. So, lighting needs to be good inside so that you feel kind of like in a warm, cozy cocoon. And we're going to do this with lamps. We are not turning the overhead light on. That's a no no. The overhead light is bad vibes. And especially if you live in a rental, a lot of the time the like light bulbs or lights used in the overhead lights are not warm bulbs. And so it's just like double whammy of like cold lighting and it's overhead light. So we're going to need lots of lamps. And I would even recommend having your lamps on during the day as well because then when the sun goes down, let's say it's 4:30 p.m., the sun is going down. I feel like we've all been there where the sun goes down and all of a sudden you like look up from your phone or your computer and you're sitting in a pitch black room and it's like extremely depressing. So instead, I would recommend having your lamps on during the day so that the sun goes down. You're not sitting in the pitch dark. You're actually sitting in a lovely, warm, glowy room. I think that helps a lot so that it kind of, when you transitions into nighttime, it doesn't feel as negative. Instead, it's kind of like a warm hug. Okay, so lamps are so crucial, and I don't even know if you can have too many lamps. The more lamps, the better. But it's really important to have lamps at different heights so that the light is kind of dispersed in a natural way throughout the room. So I would recommend having different types of lamps. So maybe floor lamps, table lamps, and sconces. Um, Obviously, they're renter friendly sconces as well. Most people don't have sconces in a rental. Um, but I think that will help kind of distribute light throughout the room. And of course, the light bulbs need to be warm light bulbs. If you have color changing ones, that's great too. You can set it to warm white, even orange, maybe. But definitely need warm light bulbs. That is actually crucial, mandatory, very important. And then I would also say it's great to have different kind of materials of lamps or different styles of lamps. So think about maybe glass or fiberglass lamps, a more traditional table lamp with a fabric lampshade. And there's more modern kind of metal lamps that have more of an office vibe. There's really great paper lanterns or paper lamps that emit a really good, warm, glowy light. So I think mixing up the different styles of lamps also helps. The IKEA Fado is one of my favorites and is super affordable, and disperses light in a really nice, warm, glowy way. Akari lamps, which you can find on, I know the Noguchi Museum website has them, and those are really beautiful and honestly like art pieces. I also love looking on Etsy for vintage lamps. So there are really amazing ones because there's people selling all over the world. So there's people in like Denmark, Italy, France selling beautiful vintage lamps on Etsy. And there's really small ones. I've recently found really adorable clip lamps, which I think could be great to put on shelving, to also use in the kitchen or the bathroom. I mean, what better than like a cozy, if you have a bath, you can take a bath, put on a little lamp, and that's so lovely. And then in your kitchen too, I think it's really cute to have a small little kitchen lamp. So Etsy has good ones, especially if you're looking for something small that's very easy to ship. Okay, I think that's everything I had on lighting and lamps. The second thing that I think can help a lot to make your home feel cozy, and I think this really helps also with setting an intentional vibe and energy, is candles. So I love having candles burning almost all the time. I actually mostly don't use scented ones. I mostly just have kind of pillar or taper candles going. And I think that helps because then you can have it going. Like, I'll have it on all day by my computer if I'm working. I kind of think there may be something scientific about seeing fire, kind of similar to how people say that if you see the ocean, it's naturally calming. I feel like there may be something similar about seeing fire, but I know personally I find it very calming. I also just think it sets a really nice mood. So I recommend having candles burning all the time. Obviously, be careful and don't leave it on while you're out. It feels like nice to kind of set the mood even just for yourself. Um, so I highly recommend always having a candle going. Um, and it's kind of like in the winter, it's kind of like a fireplace, but most people don't have fireplaces, so it's kind of like your own mini fireplace. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is elevating your kind of like drinks setup. So I feel like in the winter, I don't go out to coffee shops as often. I may not go out to bars as often too, just because it's colder. And so I end up staying in more once again. But I feel like this is a really good opportunity to kind of elevate your drinks setup and make it feel really special, even when it is at home. So, I have personally invested in a little bit more kind of like glassware or cute mugs recently. And I think that it can make drinking a little morning coffee feel so much more special when you're looking at a maybe it's like a handmade mug from an artist that you found online, or maybe it's a mug that you thrifted at a like a flea market or found at a thrift store on vacation. I really like drinking out of something that feels a little bit special and intentional. Even my coffee right now is from this glass that I got on Etsy, and it was I think it's a vintage glass. And I always feel so chic drinking out of this. So I think this can go for like tea, coffee, those kinds of drinks, but also cocktails or mocktails. I feel like, can really experiment with making drinks at home and using fun cocktail glasses. I don't know, if you're going to have a drink at home, you might as well kind of experiment and make it feel a little bit special. And I recently got these kind of dark, um, what is it called? Smoked glass wine glasses. And I've actually even used them to make espresso martinis. But I think you can make, I mean, there's so many fun winter drinks. Like, you can play with citrus since it's citrus season. You can make hot toddies, which are really warm and cozy. Try to romanticize your drinks at home. And even if it's just your morning coffee, like Trader Joe's has great little biscotti, and you can have your little coffee out of a new mug that you're really excited about with a little biscotti. And I think we all just need to kind of have a little extra treat when it's winter. Okay, the next thing on my list is arts and crafts. And what I mean by that is, if you are kind of chilling at home watching TV, I would recommend trying to do some sort of like art or tactile activity. So I know personally I've gotten into watercoloring a little bit recently. I know some of my friends have gotten into the air dry clay that you can play with, and then I think you can let it air dry or bake it. But I would recommend doing some little arts and crafts at home. And then when you make something, I always love putting it on my fridge or putting it on a shelf, and then that way when you walk around your home or apartment, you have kind of these new pops of art that are around your home that will just make you smile when you see it, when you look on that shelf or when you walk to the fridge in the morning. And I also think it helps just instead of if you're watching TV, instead of being having big screen, small screen, having just the big screen and doing a little bit of art. And I think it kind of gets creative juices flowing and just gives you more fun things to look at. Okay, the next thing is florals. So, what better way to brighten up your home than to have flower arrangements around? So, I would recommend whenever you go to the grocery store, if you're going to Trader Joe's, pick up some flowers. I would also say, I mean, if you live somewhere where you can forage, 100% do that. And keep your eye out also for fun vases if you're at thrift stores. Having little arrangements around your house will definitely brighten the day. And I would also say, and I've been wanting to do this, is get a flower frog because I've seen such beautiful arrangements. And I think you can kind of elevate a normal, like what would be maybe a normal bouquet with a flower frog. I feel like you can have a very elevated arrangement, and that is super cool. So I know that's something that I want to try playing around with a little bit more this winter. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to talk about is kind of in the textile world. I guess bedding, pajamas, towels, maybe a robe are all just things that I think can make you feel really comfortable and at home. And I think that when you kind of like get into a cozy pajama set and you get into your sheets and you feel really amazing, it elevates the feeling of getting in bed or even laying in bed during the day when you feel really good about your sheet set or your duvet cover or you're excited because you've switched it out. So I used to just have all white duvet covers, and recently I've been getting into way more different colors. And so I now have like a dark maroony brown one. And then I recently just bought one on IKEA, super affordable, that was blue. It's like blue little stripes. Um, and now I'm so excited to switch it out. It helps your room feel refreshed and it helps kind of bring a bright new energy that I think will make you feel a lot more positive about your space. I highly recommend thinking about your bedding, even more in the winter. And I don't think you have to buy anything new. I think a lot of us already have a lot of things at home that we can work with, and even just moving things around in a way that makes it feel new and fresh, I think can help kind of reset your mind to be more excited about your space. And that helps a lot when it's winter time. So, you don't necessarily have to buy, like, I'm not buying new towels. Would I love new towels? Yeah, but do I need new towels? No. But I think kind of switching things out and making it feel more intentional, or kind of like bringing something new into your rotation that was maybe in the back of the closet or the back of the cupboard can help kind of make your space feel refreshed. And I think it's just about intentionally setting a vibe inside. So like you're excited to spend a night inside your like lovely paradise of a cozy warm little home. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about, and I really hope this helps. I know I'm very much trying to kind of get out of the winter rut. Like, none of this at all replaces speaking to an actual medical professional or healthcare professional, but those are just some things that I think help me in the winter, and hopefully can help you too.